Hey everyone, my name's Annie. Today I kind of wanted to talk to you about how I made my Jester cosplay. I started watching Critical Role around mid-September of 2020, like many of us did who were stuck in quarantine. I finished the whole campaign in about 2 months. I don't have a problem, I promise. I finished it around mid-November. I was watching between 2 to 3 episodes a week, and it was like non-stop, Mighty Nine on my brain all the time. I wanted to cosplay Jester within the first couple of videos that I had watched. I just fell in love with her character. Honestly, I fell in love with all of them. I probably fell in love with Not first, but Jester was the only one that felt super accessible in some ways. I'm not really sure why, but I just really clung to her with the idea of doing a closet cosplay of her cute little outfit. So my goal was to Photoshop my skin blue, just grab a couple of things from thrift stores or just what I had around my house, and legitimately just make a very simple closet cosplay. Nothing fancy, just very cheap, very one time, nothing I would probably wear ever again, but just something to show my appreciation for the character and the series that I was coming to love. Around the time that I was starting to look into doing Jester's cosplay, there was a local rental costume shop that decided to have a huge sale where they were getting rid of a bunch of stuff. And I went, and what I found was this blue dress. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, Jester skirt. I had to have it. And then right after that, I found this green dress and I was like, oh my gosh, this would be perfect for Jester's little capelet thing. So I grabbed them both, and I grabbed a couple of other things that I'm going to be using for other cosplays later on, but those were my main 2 items that I kind of started with to make her cosplay. For the blue skirt, I made an elastic waistband so I could just slip it underneath the corset and wear it as it was. I really didn't modify anything because it was already hemmed and it was already a skirt. So I just did that super quick. Took me a little bit to figure out how the heck to make an elastic waistband, but I did it in the end. For the shawl, most of it was hand stitched. My sewing machine kind of hated me at the time and refused to do like any of the work, so I had to hand stitch all of that, and then I had to hand stitch the little tiny like button clasps onto it to make it so that it would actually fit all together and snap together so I could wear it as a shawl. That wound up not working super duper well, so what I did instead was I took the little brooch that she has and I added little pin backs onto it. Hot glued those, super simple. And once I had done that, I can just pin it really quickly up in the corner, super fast. Don't need the snaps that I sewed on after all, so all that work for nothing. I 3D printed all of her accessories from files that I found on Thingiverse, including her horns. I'll link the files down below in case you're interested in finding those yourself. I highly recommend them. It was super duper simple to print. I printed them in kind of a rough quality because I didn't really care if they came out super duper great because I was going to sand them anyway. And once I had done that, I sprayed everything down for her accessories with silver spray paint, and I sealed it with a resin sealer. For the brooch itself, I actually went back over it with a little bit of black paint to make those little crevices really pop. For the traveler symbol, I got those really, really cheap rhinestones and I just super glued them onto it, and that was that. From there, I splurged and went ahead and got this kind of like Pirate Renaissance flavored t-shirt off Amazon. I slit the sleeves down the center so it would flow a little bit more, and I took fabric paint that I had left over from a project from years ago, and I just kind of hand painted real quickly the little flower designs all over the bottom of the sleeves. My mom used to make jewelry for fun, so while I was digging around at her house one day, I found a bunch of the little things that I could use to recreate Jester's little accessories and earbobs and whatnot. So I made those as best as I could and attached them permanently to both the horns and to the fake ears that I have. The ears that I'm using are really, really cheap ones from Amazon that I just painted blue and sealed with an acrylic sealer. The horns themselves, in order to get them to attach to my head, I hot glued 2 pieces of felt onto it and sandwiched some clips in between that so that I can just permanently have it clipped to my wig. It's a lot easier than having to clip it and unclip it every single time, but the clips themselves hold on really, really well. I tried making my own hand socks. It did not work, mainly because my sewing machine despises my very soul, and it ruined the stitching for a lot of it, and it came undone like immediately after I wore it for the first time. Also, there were like a lot of the permanent marker markings on it, and I didn't know how to get rid of that, so that was kind of ruined as well. So I went ahead and I splurged and I got a set of the arm socks from We Love Colors. Totally recommend them. They are super duper durable. They're really great color, and they fit very comfortably. I wound up taking one of my failed arm socks and I turned it into the tail for Jester. So I took the long part of the arm and I sewed that around some dowel rods that I had made out of some foam trimmings that I had left over from another project. From there, I created the EVA foam kind of heart shape that she has for her tail, and I glued that onto the main dowel part. After that, I sewed on my little tube sock that went all the way around, and I added the additional heart-shaped sock around it, sewed those two together, covered it with foam clay, painted that silver, sewed on a piece of fishing line to the base of her tail so that I could attach it with a safety pin to like my wrist underneath the little gloves that she wears, and it makes the tail a little bit more animated and it keeps it from dragging on the ground, which is a plus. The lollipop was made using 3 sheets of like insulation foam from Home Depot. I used wood glue to attach them all together, and after that I just kind of sawed the crap out of them with a box cutter. It was a very painful experience on my ears because holy crap, I didn't realize how squeaky it was going to be, so it was pretty bad. But took some time, I got it done. I sanded it down with both a hand sander and with sandpaper. I found the hand sander was really great because it got rid of a bunch of the really lumpy bits very quickly, and I didn't have to sit there and sand it by hand as much. I then sloppily cut the little swirly design into it with the box cutter. I probably could have sanded that down, but by that point I was already so fed up with the lollipop because of how long it was taking to do everything that I just didn't. Everything was painted with acrylic paint, sealed with acrylic sealer, and it has a T-joint for a PVC pipe inside of it that I can use to just attach my PVC pipe into it and detach it for storage. It's really nice. The coupling area is kind of covered up with the bow so you can't see it at all, and it just adds a nice little bit of decoration. After that came probably the hardest part of this entire cosplay, and that was learning how the crap to do makeup. I've gone 26 years of my life and have never put on makeup voluntarily until this year, so that was an experience. With the help of Jenny D's tutorial that she did on Jester's makeup, as well as some friends that were helping me out at the time, I managed. I have definitely learned things since then, and I'm continuing to learn things about how to use body paint and makeup as a whole because I am starting from scratch with all of this. But I feel like for my first try, I actually did a pretty decent job. One of the things I really like about my Jester cosplay is that it's something that I can constantly add to and change, and it evolves, which is really, really cool because it's making it kind of more mine than just the picture. I recently added her sickle, which is part of her design. I made my own little covering for it out of some like leftover leather coat that I had laying around. It's like a pleather coat or whatever. And I also added the little tiny like vials of paint because I thought that would be a really fun touch to add because she is an artist. I do want to eventually add like a pencil and a paintbrush and a book to go along with it because Jester's an artist, I'm an artist, I respect that. Voila! This is the final result of my Jester cosplay. It honestly didn't take me that long to make just because I got super duper lucky with thrifting everything and just everything fell into place super well. I didn't make the corset. I purchased the leggings, the wig, and a bunch of other stuff like that. So any of those I will link down below in the description so that you can see where I purchased them. The corset itself is actually not even for Jester. The corset is for my Sylvanas cosplay, but I liked how it looked, so I wore it with Jester. Even though I have like 3 other brown corsets I could have worn, that was just the one that I was like, gonna do that. I also paid a lot of money for that corset, so might as well get my money's worth out of it, you know? Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this chaotic video, leave a like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff if you wish, or leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I am more than welcome to answer any kind of questions that you have about Jester, Critical Role, nerdy fandom stuff, whatever. I do have a lot more cosplay videos planned. I just don't know when I'll be able to get to them because I am working more on my Patreon than anything else. But if you're interested in stuff like tutorials and patterns, work in progress, finished photos, and more, check out my Patreon. It'll be linked down below as well. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you all next time.